With Anthony Smith, Dean Thomas, and Brett Okamoto, Brendan Fitzgerald, we're recapping all the action. Anthony, I'll come to you first. Your thoughts on Dricus Du Plessis retaining his belt?
Yeah, what an amazing fight. And you know, I talked about before, I thought it was going to be really competitive. At least one of us had some love for Dricus.
Why you want to bring up old stuff? Why are you bringing up old stuff? That's old. That's old news.
That's yesterday. Dean said that it wasn't even going to be close.
Right.
I thought it would be close. I thought that his awkward style, his strength, his grappling, his power was going to give Izzy some problems. I thought it was one of the better title fights that I can recall in recent history. I was happy with the entire card, especially the main event.
Certainly one of the best fights of 2024. Dean, your thoughts?
Okay, Dricus Du Plessis is the champion. He is the champion for a reason. He's very good at what he does. But I give him credit for that. I'll give him credit for that.
Now?
No, I give him credit for that. But I got to say this. Izzy looked bad. Izzy looked terrible. I expected a lot more from Izzy. After a year off, a year to help heal himself, prepare himself properly, I thought he went out there and looked bad. He had a couple of moments. He could have put his foot on the gas and did more. He did not. He did not have an answer for the takedowns. He had a hard time getting back up. He had a hard time keeping separation. I thought he looked bad. And as the champion, Dricus did exactly what he needed to do to take advantage of him.
Yeah, I always look forward to these post shows. It's just fun, man. We get to just watch the fights and sit around here and talk about it. I'm really looking forward to the conversations we're going to have tonight because I think it's two things going on, right? I think it's giving Dricus his flowers finally. This is a guy who had to really work to impress us. He was overlooked all the way up to through his title run. And I do think we do have to have some hard conversations about Izzy Adesanya and where he is in his career.
Brett, I don't want to steal your line, but I'll let you say it on Dricus Du Plessis. What'd you say when we were watching this fight?
I said I just can't believe I've never seen a fighter so good, but be so good at making it look so bad. He's just, it's just ugly. It's an ugly style of fighting. I know, and I'm going to steal, you're stealing my line, so I'll steal one of Anthony Smith's lines. The Keith Jardine comparison is great. I mean, this guy, you hear Dominic Cruz talking about it. You hear Daniel Cormier talking about it. It looks like sloppy. It looks like club fighting. It looks like bar fighting. It looks like he's tired. I mean, how many times did me and Anthony say during the fight, like, he's running out of gas. He's running out of gas. And then this guy just keeps going somehow, keeps making it ugly, but just keeps winning.
And something you'd never teach in a gym, right, Anthony?
Never.
But it doesn't mean you can't be a UFC champion with that style.
No, I would never teach that. It's just who he is. He was just born with that awkward style. And I don't know that I agree with Dean completely that Israel looked that bad. I think that at times I thought he looked really great. He made a lot of bad decisions, which I'm not used to Israel doing. Like he had his face to the fence.
Dean, we'll get into why you thought Adesanya looked bad, but I want to know what your reaction is to Dricus Du Plessis getting it done, regardless of the technique and the style of what it is. What impressed you about him tonight?
He's a winner, and I said that yesterday. His mentality of being a winner, it never faded. It never faded in that fight. Even when he was in trouble, the short moments he was in trouble in that fight, it never faded. And if you look at prior fights, even when he's in trouble, it never fades. Like his mentality, his belief in himself, his confidence, it's always there. It's always high. And I think that's what really gets him through. He just never realizes that he shouldn't be winning. Like in his head, he should always be winning, and that works for him.
Brett, the numbers are pretty staggering on Du Plessis. We knew him as a finisher. He's got 11 submission wins. That's more than his 9 knockouts. In all, 20 finishes in 22 pro wins. Those are crazy numbers considering his level of competition.
Yeah, you set me up perfectly. What I was going to talk about is his killer instinct. And you know, Israel had him hurt a few times, and Izzy is a guy that we know has the ability to finish fights. We've seen it happen, but it usually takes Izzy a little bit more. You know, it takes volume, it takes the right shot. Dricus is dangerous all the time. And even as we were watching the fight and Izzy was having good moments, I kept saying, like, man, Dricus isn't landing these shots, but if he lands one, man, Izzy cannot afford to get hit by that left hook tonight. And as soon as he got hit by it, he reacted so much to it, and then it kind of took the fight out of him, honestly. By the end of the fight, I didn't even really see much fight left in it.
It was no fight left in him, and that's what I was thinking about with Izzy, is that he just looked bad defensively. Like his defense was just to pick his head up and run out of the way. He didn't look good defensively. I said it in my breakdown yesterday. He needed to counterpunch. In order to counterpunch, you have to stay in position and stay somewhere near the pocket. His response to Dricus throwing punches was what? Pick his head up and run.
That's new, though. That's
new,
but
we didn't expect that.
If you flash back to the Whitaker knockout, He's in the pocket and doesn't move back at all and throws
Nope.
when Whitaker throws.
And when he knocked out Paulo Costa, stood in the pocket and said, slip, bang, slip, bang. And now he's doing the opposite. Yeah.
Dude, backed himself to the wall, but didn't escape. He didn't skate the fence and try to run. He stood in there and threw back.
Dean, you actually told me this last year. It was last year. We were talking about the Sean Strickland fight. And you said that once Izzy got knocked down in the Sean Strickland fight, he just couldn't get it going again. And you give Sean a lot of credit for that. Sean had the right game plan. Sean executed well. But you made a point to me, Dean, that's like he got knocked out bad by Alex Pereira, and then he was able to come back and avenge that loss. But you said this guy's just not reacting to shots as well anymore. And when he gets hit, he kind of doesn't want to be in there anymore. I think maybe there's a possibility that Izzy is just sick of getting hit, dude. I mean, he's had 80 kickboxing fights, a long MMA career.
Right.
I think, I am not seeing him react to taking shots, and I know that Dricus hits hard, but we're talking about this change and of his willingness to stand in the pocket. That's been recent. It's happened in the last 2 fights.
You know, there's some guys that when they get hit, they love it. They don't mind getting knocked out. Like a fighter doesn't mind getting knocked out. They get knocked out, like, yeah, let's do it again next week. Izzy's not that type of guy.
No.
He got knocked out by Pereira. Then he got almost knocked out by Sean Strickland in that first round. And since then, he's never stood in the pocket again.
No. Well, and defending his middleweight title after he lost to Jan Blachowicz, too, he was a little bit more technical, shall we say. Instead of urgent and chasing a finish and chasing a big moment, obviously he had the motivation against Alex Pereira to kind of get it back in impressive fashion. Your thoughts on – I'll go to you, Dean. Technically on Adesanya, is it a technical thing or was it the lack of urgency? What was it specifically?
I think it's
he's
just
fighting bad.
He's psychologically just gun shy now. I think he's just gun shy.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of something Chael says, and he said it when he retired, that at some point in time, you just run out of toughness. And it's not, I'm not saying Israel's not tough. He used that more as a representation of kind of your career. I think at 35, sometimes you get to a point where you just run out of the gumption sometimes, where it's just, I don't really like this anymore. Not that he doesn't enjoy fighting or training or being in there, but sometimes you get in the pocket like that, you're like, that's not me anymore. I'm not 30 anymore.